bake pies. That's it. You're a baker, not a divider. Someone has to stand up and say that. Americans are bakers, not dividers. But see, we've taught everybody that these pies don't even exist. It's only this pie. And some of this science. Don't do this at home. It's diet. Who makes whipped cream and then doesn't make it yummy? Ah. All right. The problem is people in our country now are teaching our children that there are no pies. And they are probably teaching that there is crappy whipped cream that doesn't have any fat in it and is better for you. And so our children and a lot of our population, this is all they're looking at. They've forgotten that there is a pie to be made that they can make. And the transition from divider to baker is rough. Because let's face it, a lot of people have gotten comfortable just waiting around for the government piece of pie that they now feel they're entitled to. At what point did we ever think it was self-evident that all men are created equal and they all come with a pie? At what point did God say, you have a slice of pie? No, you have an opportunity to bake a pie. We have to teach these people who have just done this with the pie that there's more pie out there. There's as much pie for everybody. You just have to make it. But that's going to be tough because you need strangely unlabeled flour and eggs and utensils. You need all of this stuff. And you need a recipe, and you need to be taught baking is not easy. Well, in that time, when you're trying to make pie, some people won't make very good pie, and they're not used to fending for themselves. And there will be serious pain. You're going through cooking school. You won't have very much pie, or it'll really stink. You got to get a cookbook. You got to do it yourself. That's where this comes in. Charity. I'm a small government guy, a libertarian guy. Charity. Charity. Help each other. You say somebody else is working hard in the kitchen and they're like, my pie's not working. You go in and help them by choice. And when it still stinks, you're like, you're a really bad baker, but here, have a slice of my pie. That's your choice. Look, trouble is coming. I've read 2 books. This is for fun, believe it or not. I read 2 books. I think 2 years ago I read this one, World Made by Hand. And this one, 1 Second After. Both of them are novels. This one is really kind of more Al Gore. The world is falling apart and we're all going to... And this one's more conservative. We're all going to die because of terrorism. So, same message though. World goes to hell in a handbasket and you don't have any of the stuff that we have. In this one is really, really good, but so is this one in completely different ways. This one made me think. No, read them both. They're really good. But this one had a little extra something in it. In this one, there was a major catastrophe. It was an EMP that goes off, and society collapses, and we lose everything. Computers, electricity, cars, everything. Everything that has a chip in it. Well, I mean, because I read this one, and I thought, wow, life stinks without technology. Okay? But this one had something else in it that this one didn't. Something that I hadn't considered. It went a little deeper into refrigeration. No refrigeration. You can't keep pie. You can't keep anything that is perishable. Which meant no liquid medicines could be kept. Now, I don't take insulin, so I didn't even think of that. Have you ever thought to consider how many of us are on some sort of life-saving or prolonging medication? In the book, 1 Second After, it's about 30 days into this catastrophe, and the doctor explains that we're running out of medicine now because most people have about 30 days supply of medication in their house that they need. So first, anybody who has anything that has to be kept in the refrigeration, for instance, anybody who's taking insulin dies. Anybody in the hospital dies. But then the people who are taking any kind, I mean, how many of us have high blood pressure? How many of us have cholesterol problems? Not me. A lot of us shouldn't be alive today. A month later, after the first tragic event, and a whole bunch of people die, a month later, there's another round of massive dying from meds running out. There's no insulin, there's no antipsychotic drugs, no cholesterol-lowering pills. There's strokes, there's heart attacks, suicides, disturbed people on the loose. It would be chaos. We don't even think about that. We don't think of how many of us are alive today and walking around today that shouldn't be and wouldn't be if it wasn't for modern medicine. Well, it's the same thing, I think, with handouts, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. Just like we are slaves, many of us, slaves to medication. We are dependent on medication. If we don't have it, we'll die. Many of us now are slaves from government handouts, and many